Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Norman Network. And in today's episode, we are going to be looking at the Audio-Technica ATH-AVA400s. Let's get right on into it. Alright, so let's get right on into the review of the Audio-Technica headphones. So these are the ATH-AVA400s, as I said, and they are an entry-level audiophile and Openback studio headphones. So this video might be a little bit technical. I'll do my best to explain it for people who are new to the audio world, but it's a pair of headphones, first and foremost, and I'll explain what I mean by all the detail as I get into it. But first, I said it's an Openback headphone. What is an Openback headphone? An Openback headphone basically is you have the headphone and you have the driver or speaker that is inside the headphone module. Now, a regular set of headphones, like I have here, will have this part be closed. This means this is just a solid piece of plastic. On an Openback headphone, that is completely different because this is actually hollow through here, which allows, it might not sound very great to some people, but the sound kind of comes out the back, so it's not isolating is what that's called. So it's not going to be keeping the sound in. You're not going to be able to use it in public transport. This is for like home use. This is for making things sound really good. And what that openness does basically is when you have audio, all of the audio is going to be in this space. So let's say this circle here that I've made with my hands, this is where the headphone is. This is the closed area. Now, with a speaker, obviously, that sound can fill a room because it's just going outwards. With an Openback headphone, it's kind of like a happy medium in between the two. It's not totally closed in, but it's also not an entire room. It's kind of, instead of this, it's more this, which allows the sound to kind of spread out and sound wider, sound more natural, sound more like speakers. So these headphones, the Audio-Technica ATH-AVA400s, are Openbacks, which is just wonderful. They sound amazing. So let's just quickly get into some specs, and then I'll go through each of the specs and kind of what they are. These have a frequency response of 18 Hertz to 25,000 Hertz. That's a really decent frequency response. Most headphones you'll see 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz or somewhere in that range, and that's about the range of human hearing. So 18 to 25,000, that's great. You're gonna get just a little bit more bass, and you're gonna get way more treble, which is just gonna make it sound really sparkly and really nice. It's gonna sound warmer, I guess. Warmer meaning it has more bass, more treble, but it's not a V sound. So when you're thinking about sound, you have to think about a straight line, and that straight line is the low frequencies to the high frequencies and the middle frequencies in between. Some headphones, they have the frequency kind of go like this, where you have the low frequencies are made louder and the high frequencies are made louder, and then the middle frequencies are kept the same just because our human hearing likes to pick out this spot and make it louder naturally, just because that's where most sound is. My voice is in that middle frequency. Guitars, pianos, any form of a melodic instrument is usually in that middle frequency range, so our ears kind of pick that up more. These headphones are not that V sound, which I personally really like because that allows them to be studio-type headphones. Studio headphones are, instead of being that more V-type sound or like that, there's so many different variations, they try to keep as flat as possible. And that flat sound just allows you to hear exactly what is being produced. You can hear exactly what the sound is, which is really important if you're trying to create music, if you're trying to edit videos or things like that. And also, personally, I just think it is really nice to listen to songs with it as well, because it keeps it very faithful to what the creator's original vision would have been. So next up, the headphones, they are 35 ohms. They have an impedance of 35 ohms. For those of you who don't know what ohms are, it's basically a type of power. Headphones use ohms to see how to run them, basically, just like you would plug in a vacuum. It needs a certain amount of power. Headphones need a certain amount of power. They are an electronic. And the ohms are delivered from whatever device you're playing it. So these are 35 ohms, which is exactly as what you'd expect most headphones to be. So these can be run out of pretty much anything. You can run it out of laptops, you can run it out of phones, you can run it out of portable music players. You don't need anything special to make these sound good, which is important because these, as I said, are entry-level headphones. These are not top-tier audiophile headphones. They're not top-tier studio headphones. These are entry for both. They're audiophile entry, they're Openbacks, they've got nice, heavily detailed dynamic drivers, which is the speaker, so the sound is more detailed, and they're studio headphones because they're flat, but they're not perfectly flat, so they're just entry level. And that's important to keep in mind also when you're looking at the price of these. These go for 200 zloty here in Poland, or excuse me, 400 zloty here in Poland, and if you want to get that elsewhere in the world, you can do the division. It's like 110 Canadian dollars-ish, and more like 60 or 70 American dollars. So it's a really good price for these. For what they do, that is an incredible price. For full Openback headphones, that is an amazing price. For headphones with specific design, which actually we can segue into the design then. These headphones are really well built. They're plasticky, but that's what you'd expect from that budget, from 400 zloty headphones, from $100 headphones, where you are in the world. But from that budget, that's what you'd expect from these. They are made almost entirely of plastics, but they have really nice details on them. First of all, this headband. For comparison, again, I'll bring in these. These are the Motorola Escape 500s. They're Bluetooth. I have them plugged in right now. This headband, this is what you'd usually see in a headphone. You just take it and you put it on your head, just like that. So that's a normal headphone headband. This is even nicer because this headband, this is automatically adjustable. So you see that, how I just put it on and I just squeeze a little bit. So this, you don't have to adjust, you don't have to pull anything. You just take it and you put it on your head just like that. And you can see here, I'll go a little bit closer. So I take it off and it fits right into place on your head. So that's just a really nice feature, and you see that in more top quality headphones. This is kind of a trope that you see a lot in AKG headphones and things like that. So you're getting top quality building things like that in it. It is one-sided cable, which I guess is nice. It's not removable, unfortunately. Would have liked to see a removable cable just so you can upgrade the cable to something nicer. It's a decent cable. It's a decent cable. It doesn't tangle too bad because it's a little bit thicker, so it's going to be more durable. It's not going to tangle as easily, but that also it's probably only a copper cable. It doesn't say on the website exactly what type of cable it is. I wouldn't expect it to be any more than a silver cable, so you're not going to get extremely amazing performance out of the cable, but that's kind of what you'd expect again for the price. So yeah, the cable is really long. It's a 3-meter long cable, and I will grab the end of the jack here. And it ends in a regular 3.5 millimeter jack, which is good, and it comes with a also really nice 6.4 millimeter jack. Basically, this is a 1/8 jack, and it comes with an attachment for a 1/4 jack, so that's good. It's gold. I guess it'll conduct frequencies a little bit better than some cables. It doesn't really matter all that much. Final detail of the build is the ear pads here. They're pretty nice. They're really nice. So usually on ear pads you see either leather or pleather, fake leather basically. This is neither. This is a velour pad. So it's a little bit softer. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got more of a fuzzy texture. Not insane, but it's got more of a fuzzy texture, and it's a really nice padding. You can see it squishes in really nice. It's really, really comfortable. These don't have insane clamping force, so they don't clamp on your head too hard, but this, even if they do, this totally minimizes it. One unfortunate thing about the pads is they're really, really shallow, so the actual space in between how far you have the end of the pad towards how far away the driver is. For me, my ear, like kind of the tip of my ear, it does actually rub up against the plastic covering just before the driver, which can get uncomfortable after longer sessions, but it doesn't bother me all too much. They are really nice. They're kind of concave, so they slope in a little bit, which is a really nice detail. I appreciate that, and it kind of just fits the head a little bit better, and they're extremely comfortable. And the padding on this headband here is also similar padding. It's not memory foam, but it's really squishy foam, and it's not velour, but that doesn't really matter because unless you're bald, you wouldn't really feel it on the top of your head. But even if you were, it's still a very soft material, so that wouldn't matter all too much. So let's move into the thing that you probably really want to hear about, which is how does it sound? Norman, how does it sound? It sounds amazing, frankly. It sounds amazing. If you are coming from a pair of regular Apple headphones, if you're coming from a pair of just like $12 30s, kind of in-ear headphones, you're going to be amazed. You're going to be agape at these. These are incredible sounding comparatively to that. Obviously, like I had said, and I can't stress this enough, this is not top tier equipment. This is entry level equipment. So yes, it will be leagues better than what you have right now if you aren't into the audiophile world, if you're not into the studio mixing world. But it's not the most incredible thing that is possible. That being said, it is really, really good. As I had said earlier, it has a really flat sound. So all of the instruments kind of, they sound exactly where they should be. The sound staging, which is what I was talking about with the wideness of the sound, which comes from being Openback, is pretty good. It's leagues better than what you'd get from a closed back headphone because it's open. The middle section, getting a little technical here, the mids are not very wide. They don't get expansive. The mids, although in full stereo, they still stay really close to your head, and sometimes in more piercing mids, they're definitely in your head. The treble likes to stay kind of around there. I'd say treble likes to stay kind of at the back of where the cup would be, so pretty close to your head, which means if you're having really high sounds, if you're particularly susceptible to especially like higher lyrics or something like that. Personally, I'm more susceptible to like S's and stuff like that in sound, so when singers have a lyric that has a longer S sound to it, that gets pretty harsh in them, but of course you can fix that kind of with an EQ. I prefer not to do that, but that's just my personal preference. The bass, although not incredibly, there isn't a bunch of sub bass. The mid bass and the regular bass is pretty good. It's flat, so it's not overstated, but it is super wide compared to everything else. The bass, it just kind of goes, as it kind of goes away or fades out, if you have a really long like half note or whole note kick drum, it just goes from the headphone and just gets big, like that. So it's got really nice bass extension, which is good. It makes it sound much wider and just really good. I like listening to things with this. If you're going to be listening to like just regular MP3s through Spotify or just an MP3 player, it's going to sound good. It's going to sound even better if you're listening with audiophile type files. So if you're listening through FLACs and things like that, which is what I do my listening with, these sound even better because that lossless format these are good high-res headphones. They're good. They really get the job done, and they sound amazing. That you can hear the comparatively to other headphones, the 18 to 25,000 compared to a 20 to 20,000 hertz frequency response. The treble gets way wider, and the bass gets just a little bit wider, but because they're open, that bass is artificially, of course, much bigger than it is. Now, of course, that is coming from a person who likes flat headphones, so these are not bass head headphones. If you are a person who's looking for intense bass, I urge you to look at in-ear headphones, because that's what's going to give you the most bass. Openback over-ear headphones, it's not a bass head style of headphone. So the Audio-Technica ATH-AVA400s, can I recommend these? Yes, 100%. These are amazing. I own them. I do way too much research for things that I buy. These are great. If you are looking for a better headphone to listen to things through, or if you're just seeing the kind of the resurgence of the audiophile world and you want to get kind of into it, you're feeling left out, these are a great place to start. And they're not a big commitment if you buy these. You're not going to be spending a bunch of money on, you're not going to be spending a bunch of money on amps and DACs and extra cables and things like that. This is a whole package. You plug this in and it's going to make your device sound better. 100% can guarantee. So, yeah, Audio-Technica ATH-AVA400s. Great open-back headphone. Only 35 ohms, anything can run in them, 18 to 25,000 frequency response, adjustable headband, and as I said so many times before, they're flat, they're open, they sound really wide, and they sound really nice. So, pick them up. If you think you'd be interested in it, I totally recommend. And on that note, I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode, which will hopefully be sooner than this one after the last one. Sorry. Bye!